out.
With the 450.
I didn't mean that to you, Rich. I meant like, don't let a subscriber tell me to take his really fast car out like that because it won't come back in one piece. My bad.
I took it out and I got into it and it got way too nutty and the car started to get sideways right away and like half throttle and I was like, nope, I'm going back. This ain't happening. Not on Chicago side streets. Not happening.
That's how it was with my subscriber. He has a 2020 F-250 that I did some fluid changes to over the weekend. He's got the pedal monster in that thing. And videos don't do it justice, Ray. You were right. And A-Rod.
Oh,
You ain't got to tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Everybody who gets one of those calls me and tells me, yeah, you were right.
When Crouster brought his to me to do some work on it, I was pulling it out in the shop and I was like, what the hell? When you don't even barely have to touch this pedal in this thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I had it in sport mode and I was sitting at a stop sign and I went to go turn left to go over a bridge and I just barely touched the throttle and it was just like, I was like, holy shit.
It's nasty.
And then I put it in track mode from a dead stop. Oh my God.
What up, everybody? What up, Zeekster? If you guys are just coming in right now, we were just talking about the pedal monster from Banks. Way cool addition to your truck, to your vehicle, because it's not just your Ford truck. They have a whole bunch of stuff. Jeremy Anderson, he's running the pedal commander on his 13 F-150. Brake Clean Mafia. What? Yeah, if you haven't gotten a pedal monster, it is probably the best 300 bones you will spend, because it is the biggest difference you're going to notice. You're going to pop this thing on and you're going to be like, oh, let's go for a ride. And it's going to be nothing but smiles. So
I am back.
I
left the meeting. I was closing windows and I was like, here, let's close this one too.
King Ranch, love my pedal monster. What? Gassers and the diesels.
I've seen it for the F-150 as well. I'm going to pick one up for the F-150.
I ordered one for my Ranger.
Heck yeah. I'm telling you guys, it's a game changer, man. And it's not only having
your bucks.
Yes. And having coupled with, so there's two ways you can use the pedal monster. It's download their app, or you can control it through the iDash, which is the little gauge you watched Ray and I install on his, and then I installed one on our Super Duty, and it just gives you a whole bunch of more data, EGTs and temperatures and boost, and one of the biggest things is distance between regions, and a lot of guys really hone into that and have it pretty down to science when their truck is going to go in regen, so they can really pay attention to get hey, the happier, the hotter, the cleaner that filter is in that 6.7, the less problems you're going to have. I will tell you that. So regen. Ghost Dog 6.4 liter Ford slaps. Well, if you guys have been watching the channel, you saw
it slapped rods.
Mr. New 21 SD67 in the house. Yep. Aviator 399 in Detroit.
What I mean, what's a regen? Because I mean, my truck's never done that.
I've never had one happen. I don't know what that is.
Well, them older trucks don't have to do. What am I the only one experiencing multiple door lock actuator failures on my 21 SD? My 20, I had to replace all of mine, and they're the same ones you got in yours.
Slap rods.
So that is kind of unfortunate, but yes, you probably are going to have to replace them all. Are you accepting questions, Joe Balance? Yes, we are. Always.
Mine are starting to act up, and I just got done with my front ones, and they're already acting up again. Brand new ones.
Really?
Yeah, I just did mine, like a year ago? Not even. And now my front ones act up every once in a while, and the back ones act up all the time now.
Huh. A Buick Roadmaster today. Ooh.
What?
Aspen
Those are nice.
Lang says he's got a little 6-4 question when y'all get a chance. Hey, you got the floor, Aspen. Run it out.
Is that the dude that I said come here?
It says Aspen Lane. Talking about 6-4.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said,
somebody.
he said, thanks for the invite, Ford Boss.
Oh yeah, there he is right there.
Oh,
Howdy,
yeah.
howdy. Yep. What's
Yeah,
up,
that's the guy.
Aspen? Yep. We'll wait for his.
I like that
response
sign you
here.
got behind you right there. That Power
what?
Stroke neon sign.
Yep. PTT wife unit. She does wonders and was able to find somebody. Somebody did something, and they're good with CNC.
Well, we
and
need
lighting,
to pay
so-
her. We need to pay her to do something for me, wink, wink, and I do something for you, wink, wink.
Oh, the council, Zoodad, welcome.
Welcome.
What we got
Welcome.
going on Saturday?
Okay, I'll type it. Go ahead and keep chatting. My fuel pump is screaming 150K. Change filters first or go for a new pump? 14,356.7 new to me. If it's screaming and it sounds like it's not supposed to be doing that, one or two reasons. One, you could be struggling with some filter flow, but the damage potentially could already be done. And with 150K on it, I would just swap that thing out. It's going to come with a lower filter already. It's going to come with a new water and fuel sensor, a new water drain valve. If this is new to you, like you just said, that little housing is three things: the water and fuel sensor, the fuel pump, and the fuel filter housing. So it probably needs to be replaced. I invite you to go to the 11 through 16 playlist that we have, specifically the repair that you're actually questioning, and you can compare your noise to the one on the video. So yeah, A-Rod Forescans. Yeah. Heck yeah, we use Forescan. I would like an excursion. Yeah, that would be totally killer. The excursions, I remember seeing them at the auto show. We were like, what? We want that. We want that. And then they were a hit and they took them away from us. So
I see one almost every morning here locally, and it's not a Power Stroke. It's a what did they come in? They had the V10, right?
V10 7360.
The guy has a V10.
5.4.
I see it every morning. He's already repainted it, refurbished it, kind of did the frame. It looks like it was a frame off everything. And it's got the V10 in
Damn.
it. It's gorgeous. I see it every morning on the way to work. He stops over at the gas station to get his morning coffee. And I'm like, oh, God, it's so nice.
So Chad H asks a good question. Friday is going to be the inputs I have on Recall 22 EO4, and a lot of guys are asking, is it going to detune my truck? I don't want the dealer messing with it. I don't care. I'm not getting it done. Blah 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 blah. I have done probably a dozen of them right now. I've had no complaints. This is a PCM and TCM update. So being that I have a 10-speed, I've already done mine, and I didn't really notice anything different, although I'm continuing to watch to see what the difference in distance between regens, because I have a gentleman who we did, and it went from 450 to about 600 now between regens. So something changed. And as far as the trans, I would want the latest and greatest software in my 10-speed. Since our trucks have been built, they've tweaked and changed and added and taken away and made the trans a little bit better as far as shifting. And the majority of the problems I see with the weirdness is with the exhaust brake on. And there was an update that came out that took care of that, and it was like low speed maneuvers with exhaust brake on, 1-2 shift jerky
I mean, if you've
sensation or something.
updated, if you updated the PCM since then, it's been put in there anyway, so.
True. But no, we got a video Friday. I'm showing you exactly what we're gonna do. This is what I would expect the dealer to do when they take your truck to do this. It's something that I feel you should be able to wait around for. This is only going to take about a half an hour, 40 minutes. I would say an hour between you getting the paperwork over here and then the technician and out to your vehicle and then in and doing it. I would say about an hour. So if you have some maintenance to get done, maybe try to wait so that you can do a twofer, get your maintenance done, get the reprogram recall done, and you probably would need the wiper arm recalls. There's a lot of guys that haven't been to the dealer because you guys don't like coming, but the wiper arm recall is a big one to replace the front wiper arms. Go check yours out. Look at them right now. Take them off the windshield. I'm sorry, lift the wiper arms off the windshield, and it should be it should not be flopping around. Like the arm down here should not be flopping around. It should be nice and fast, and then you lay it down on the windshield. Well, what I'm finding is when we take these off, the little Rich, what would you call that? The little Woodruff metal key or something is supposed
Woodruff
to
key.
align it onto the nub of the wiper motor, and it's not there. A lot of times I'll see them sitting down in the cowl. So a big things, if you're not gonna, if you are gonna come to the dealer, we're gonna run your VIN when we write it up. And so there's gonna be a lot of recalls up if you have not had yours taken care of. The cameras, a lot of guys have been waiting about the cameras. The cameras are finally in. So the foggy image, all you IllumiDuty 17, 18, 19s, some of the 20s are, depending on the build date, but come get your cameras. Nobody wants a foggy, cloudy camera. Let's get those things in, get them ordered. And the other one is the unintended tailgate opening. Not everybody's getting that done. It's really only for the people who are having it happen. If you're experiencing it, I don't know if I'm going to make a video on it. If you guys want me to, maybe I'll see. I'll depend.
And while I'm here, Aaron, can I jump out of here real quick? Grab the Hot Shot Secret Blackstone lab results that people wanted, and then I'll screenshot it, send it to Cody real quick, and then come back in. So then you guys have it. You can review it at the end.
Yeah.
Like screen share it so that people were asking about it. Nobody's seen it yet. I've had it for months.
Let me
now,
turn screen sharing on. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna jump out real quick. Well, I'll try to stay here and do it, and then I'll come back.
For sure.
All right.
Let's see here. I got
That unintended tailgate opening.
Yeah.
Sucks.
it is a real pain in the butt.
I did a video on a F-150 one. It's like 4.5 hours or something like that.
Somebody needs to change. I spent 2 days on this thing. You guys see how I do my work, and the fact that I spent 2 days on this vehicle to only get paid 3.2 was kind of hard to swallow. I wasn't very happy. The job was done correctly, but their GD instructions were not correct. And I'm not going to waste my time trying to get M time for an hour and a half or a half hour when the time I have invested, that's a slap in my face. I'm going to waste more time doing that. I don't want to invest any more time in this job. I don't get paid to do the paperwork, to type my story, relive the repair in my head. I ain't interested. So the second one I feel is going to be much better. I would invite everybody to, if they have that on their VIN, to look up that article. It is public information. And I believe you can see what we have to do in that article. And there's a lot of wiring we have to do. And luckily, I was able to think outside the box and notice that the circuit I hooked up was not the same color that they were requesting in the instructions, and it was awful. But I learned. I will be obviously looking for that in the future. And it looked good. It didn't look like anybody was in there. I had it taped. I went from electrical tape to interior harness tape, and then I had to cut it all back open, and I was so.
Have you had people message you, or I've had a lot, about after they get their recall done,
Mhm.
they can't open their tailgate with the button on the tailgate.
Yeah, it's a double click. So there's a
Yep.
reprogram that is incorporated in that for BCM, and you have to go in the parameters and actually change some of the like ForeScan, but we're using FDRS, and to change it to double tap and to actually turn the tailgate jar message off. I don't know why. That's part of the instructions. So I don't know if we turn that
Oh.
off, but when we program the BCM, it goes into a different strategy or something. But I mean, I was running wires from the from the BCM all the way over to underneath the steering column, take the steering column apart, go up to the shift interlock. It was just, my goodness.
And then you had to go from the tailgate, you had to take the plate off the tailgate to the the
Mm.
actuator, run underneath, go through where the camera harness goes,
Yep.
go
Yep.
underneath the bed of the truck, and then run it all the way back. That was the worst 4-hour job I ever did.
The
Hated
guys
it.
who do shoddy work, I can only imagine how they're going to transplant onto these people's, just like Bruce is doing. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's how I feel. It's like I wouldn't want my whole harness to be tore up, especially with water being down there, and then we're gonna have can circuits, and who knows if they're cut. I just a lot of risk, and we try to minimize the risk as much as we can when working on these things here. Oh my gosh, look at all these comments. I can't keep up.
Nice.
Hey, do cars.
You get him, Cody?
I got a picture.
I sent you the T6 5W40 and then the Hot Shot Secret Diamond 5W40.
Oh, the diamond.
I gotta figure out how to get it on my computer now.
Yeah, I don't
Joe
know that works.
Valance.
You have to go to like your email first and then upload it to your computer or something.
All right,
How did it
Joe
work?
Valance. He says he's just acquired a 17250 Platy with 200K bone stock, like a unicorn in the wow. California truck emissions on. What do you recommend to be looked at? Shoot. I know the whole truck. Give it a good once over, brakes, front end. Check the video out we do for the front end inspections. That's a, good, definitely needs a brake job and massage. Driver seat function does not work. Okay, okay. Daddy Diesel. Okay. Still sore. It's day 3, but much better. I'm here for the hurt rib. ForeScan A-Rod turned on boost gauge in my 6.2. Whoops. I don't think you're supposed to have a boost gauge. Yeah, we can fix that.
It'll be fine.
Hey, you're not supposed to have a boost gauge. Not on a 6.2.
I mean, if there's some other stuff going on where you're adding some accessories, maybe.
Who is trying to get full screen Apple CarPlay? I just successfully did it this weekend. MJB Skidoo. Thanks for being cool. Thanks for being patient. Thumbs up to you. Excursion Raptor. How is a pedal monster for towing a 1767 and what mode? So this is a cool thing about the pedal monster, and Rain Man probably knows because he tows a lot. But the pedal monster, they have what is called a throttle trim, and you can actually trim out the speed that your throttle adjustments start to take place. And the analogy the gentleman was telling us was you don't want to be taken off from the light with your trailer and be jerky because you have this new throttle sensitivity. So You'll see to each its own. If you put it on the low city, I'm on city 10. I was on city 8 for a while. Last I want to give it a little more juice. Put it on city 10, and she's been working out. It's been working out great. What do you keep yours on, Ray?
About city 8 to
Okay.
sport 3, depending on my. I don't even touch track mode. I don't even touch track. It is so responsive in track that you look at the throttle pedal, it's like half throttle. Like
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you guys get this, no bullshit. You got to put it on track. I'm not saying go break some laws, but go find like an industrial drive and put it on track and just mat that puppy. You're gonna you're gonna pull over right now and write me an email. You'd be like, oh my God.
I can vouch for that. I did that
It's
over
no
the weekend
joke.
with the subscribers truck. It is not a joke. You are stuck in the seat and it is gone. It is a rocket.
Mhm.
Well, look at what the cat drug in. Hello,
Who that?
fella.
Who that? Who that? Who that? Who?
You know, I've been running mine in City 8 all the time. And,
Oh, yeah?
and I like the way it runs, but I don't have an iDash like you do. I just have the app on my phone. And when I'm towing, my trailer weighs 20,000 pounds. When I'm towing, I just turn it off. And I don't know if I need it off or I didn't want to, you know, I don't have any EGT or anything in there. So I don't know what's happening with the motor when it's pulling.
So that might be a subtle, easy, set it and forget it upgrade. Get a hold of the dudes over at Banks. Tell them, you know, you're affiliated with us and that you want to get just an iDash, but you want to get the one so that you can hook your pedal monster to the iDash. And now that is going to plug into the OBD. So now every time you pull up, it's a circle with a line in the middle, and you can have eight little boxes. And one of the things you can watch is all your EGTs. You got an EGT up on the exhaust manifold. You got EGTs down on the DPF. So just like you're saying, you're towing 20,000 pounds. Well, shit, I want to know when to ease out of it when I'm going up a 4% grade and towing X and, you know, yada, yada. So, I don't know. You might wind up liking it, and we got a couple of videos coming out that is going to be showing you their new gauge. We did one on Ray's truck, and that was actually the whole A pillar setup. We had to drill a couple holes, but the one that we just put on our truck is actually utilizing the grab handle, keeping the factory grab handle and mounting at the bottom bolt. So you have like this little pod hanging off, looks super clean. 10 and 2 gauge right here. Mine was up here. A lot of guys have been saying that their suction cup's been falling down in the Florida heat, and I vouch for it. It's fell on me once. But I don't know. I'm still getting used to the pod just under here. I like it. We got the dual.
I'd be interested in a pillar mount pod, but I don't want to lose my chicken stick there to hang on to.
What year is yours?
Mine's 22.
Yeah, so be patient. It's going to be coming soon. They were having some problems with getting supplies, something with the plastic and the
Molding.
melting. It was something with 3D print. So you'll be able to make a choice if you want the single or the dual. And Super Clean, you know, it's you'll see. I did a video here coming up of installing it. So
Did you guys just hear what he called that handle? He called the oh shit handle the chicken stick.
I've never
I've never heard that before. I love it. I love it.
All right,
Look
check this out.
Look
Ford
at
Boss,
Cody
check it
over
out.
here, man. Look at Cody's doing a side by side. Just everybody, a round of applause and thumbs up for Cody over here.
This guy knows what he's doing.
Wow. So on the right, you have T6, and on the left, you have the Hot Shot Secret Blue Diamond. These are both virgin formulas. I know Lake Speed says you really shouldn't be focusing on TBN too much, but if I was to look at this at face value and look at the numbers, they almost lay on top of each other. Not exactly, but they almost lay on top of each other. So I think what I'm really looking at here is it's a preference thing. Hot Shot Secrets, they are a more PAO based formula. They really, really, really pride themselves in the quality of the oil that they put out, and they really promote the fact that it's PAO based, which is Group 4, and anything Group 4 and above is much. It's depending on how much it is. It's more resistant to shearing. It's more resistant to like heat damage and wear and stuff like that. It's just a fabulous formula overall. I have not looked at the lab, like the actual material safety data sheet to see what the percentages are, but it's a toss up here. If I looked at just numbers alone and I was looking at price, I could go either way. Shell Rotella T6 is everywhere. Hot Shot Secret's not. But if I was
Correct.
Yes and no. I mean, is it everywhere now? It used to run out constantly.
What, the
You
Rotella?
can get,
Yeah,
you
but
can
how
get
about-
T6 at Walmart. I mean,
Yeah,
Is
but
it back out now? I know when
there
I
was
was
a point. There was a point in time where you couldn't get T6.
right.
Yeah.
for a
That's
good
true.
while.
What my
Like a good
point
year.
is the suppliers know T6. The suppliers don't know what Hot Shot Secret is.
Right.
Okay. And we're trying to get them out there because we love the formula, we love the oil and stuff. It's a great oil. I promote it all the time. Whenever somebody's asking me what oil should I be putting that's like the best, I typically tell them look into Hot Shot Secret, look at the Blue Diamond formula. A lot of guys love the AMSOIL stuff, but I'm like, you know what? Hot Shot Secret seems to be the go-to for a lot of guys. But most of the people that are on the road that are trying to look for an oil that they can put in their truck right away, they're going for T6.
Yeah.
So it's down to a preference thing.
So with the Hot Shot Seekers, this is not the one that is not emissions compliant. This is just a PAO one, because they have one that's even higher than the PAO one.
What has higher TBN or something?
Yeah,
This is the Blue Diamond one. This is the one that everybody was asking me the most to test. Was this one here?
So having ran both of these oils back to back, are you testing both 540s or 1030s?
Yeah, T6 at 540.
Yeah.
T6 540 and HSS Blue Diamond 540.
So that's the difference too. You can get the Hot Shot Seekers in a 1030 or a 540. You can go either way,
Right.
and they're gonna pretty much seem like the same. Like a lot of times, if you go from 540 to a 1030, you can kind of tell the difference, but not so much. Their 540 is like gonna seem like the same as their 1030. And if you were to run these two oils back to back in your truck, you probably notice a difference between the Hot Shots and the Rotella. The Hot Shots is going to be a little bit smoother. You're going to hear turbo spool a little bit quicker with the Hot Shots.
Oh, that's like almost identical. It's so funny.
Well, if you look, I know we're not so focused on the TBN as much, but the TBN's a little higher with the T6. And the reason I think some of that is because of the ad pack and what's put in there. If you look at the flash point for the Hot Shot Secrets, you can see at 415 degrees is when it flashed, where the T6 didn't flash until 430, which tells me
yeah.
the T6 can handle heat a little bit better. If you look at your calcium levels in both of them, which are, it's part of your dispersant detergent anti-acidity package. Diesel engines are very susceptible for acidity because of the amount of soot load and stuff like that, and the amount of garbage they end up getting in their oil. You need higher magnesium and
Look how
higher
much more
calcium.
boron it had. It had almost 100 more points of boron than I did in the other one.
And when I said I didn't mean to say magnesium. Magnesium you want lower, calcium you want higher. But yeah, boron. Boron is a good thing to have as a dispersant detergent package. But if you look here, one thing that we always focus on is moly. If you notice, like 95% of the diesel oils or even higher don't have any moly in their ad pack. There's only very few that I've ever seen that actually have moly in their ad pack. Valvoline Premium Blue has some. John Deere 50 has quite a bit. I think Schaefer Supreme 9000 has some. And I still got to send off the AMSOIL to have it tested, but I'm pretty sure recently some of the people said AMSOIL does have some moly in there. So I have to verify that, but very few.
Didn't I send you that though? I gotta.
Yeah, you did. I have it. I have it. Yeah, I have it. It just gets expensive, man. It gets expensive. And I hate going to the subscribers all the time asking, hey, can you guys help pay for some of this stuff? Because every time I send these samples out, it's like $450 to $600 to have all this stuff tested.
Oh, damn.
Then I found out recently you can actually send out bulk shipments, but it's more of a pain in the butt because you have to track everything and you have to order a certain amount. I mean, I don't know. Anyway.
At the end of the day, the hot shot is going to cost a lot more than the Rotilla, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So looking at the analysis, and if you were to run this oil for oil life or for 5,000 miles, whatever you want to do, you're going to check the condition of the oil, and both are still going to be in good shape. So
what you want to focus on is you want to focus on the insoluble number to make sure your filter's doing its job. You want to focus on the fuel dilution. See, it says fuel percent. And unfortunately, Blackstone Labs, when they give you these reports, they don't give you the oxidative numbers where Lake Speed, if you actually send your testing into Lake Speed Junior, Anthony, how can they look him up?
Speeddiagnostic.com.
He will actually give you, there's a provision to actually test. He tests for the oxidative numbers, the oxidative stress, and you can actually see which oils are better. Those are more, that's a more accurate number to look at than just looking at basic TBN, because we have.
He also, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, he tells you your wear rate per 1,000 miles.
Yeah. Hey, Boss, I just found the virgin oil, the virgin hot shot, or virgin
fuel dilution less than 2.
If you want to see it.
What's an acceptable number for fuel dilution?
Less than 2%.
Less than 2. The chart on the scale right there says what they want to see is less than 2% by volume. So whatever your sample is that they send in, sometimes it'll come back as 0.2 or 0.4 or something like that, and it'll still be in a good range. Once it starts getting up to like 1.0, 1.5, they'll start telling you at this point, even though you only have 4,000 miles on this oil or 5,000 miles on this oil, and the ad pack still looks really good, I would not continue to run it anymore, because your vehicle is statistically showing that it is higher on the fuel dilution spectrum because of how you run it. Once you get up closer to 2, that's it. It doesn't matter what ad pack is left. You're done. The fuel dilution is really going to start ripping away at the quality of oil and how it lubricates. So that's why throwing a test in there every once in a while is very important, because you'll get a chance to see how the vehicle is actually running. The ad pack and everything can look phenomenal, but once you get up to like 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, it's like, okay, at this point, I have to. Do I want to get up to 2? Do I really want to chance it? I'm at 5,500 miles. No, statistically, I've seen the last 2 oil changes. I've been at 1.5, 1.6. I know that that's about where I need to change it, so I don't get over that. It doesn't matter what's left at that point. That's either you figure out why you got the fuel dilution, or that's just a characteristic of how you idle that truck and run that truck, and you're not getting 7,000 miles out of it. You're changing it at 5,000 or 5,500.
I'll bring up a Lake Speeds, what it looks like. You guys give me just a minute. But
see, Aspen Lane came back. He said he has a 2010 6.4 Stage 2 ATS Trans with a 5-star converter. Truck was making a bad noise like the flex plate was cracked. So he put a billet one in. Truck is still making the noise. Can't hear sound unless in the cab.
Well, I'll be straight with you. I don't do a lot of the aftermarket trans stuff, so that's out of my wheelhouse, because I typically
Sounds like it's coming from rear of engine area, like a whirring, scraping sound. Checked turbo, looks good. Huh. That's funny.
One thing I hate at
Um,
work is sound questions because I'm not there.
I know.
It's hard to determine.
How do these little faces keep popping up? Do you pull the pedal monster if visiting the dealer or just tuck it up? I wouldn't
I wouldn't
worry
even
about
touch
it.
it.
I mean, I know what it is, so I wouldn't worry about it, but other people see a freaking air freshener Christmas tree hanging in the river mirror. Oh, this is all not under warranty. It's not converter shredder. Never heard this sound. Are you sure you didn't leave like a torque converter nut in the bell housing? Seen that before. What do all you big truck fellers think about the plastic Ford Mavericks? Well, I think you just said it for us, buddy. Before the recall, does it still qualify? Yeah, because it would still be attached to your VIN, so you probably would have gotten the old cameras because these new ones just came out.
I mean, the plastic Maverick, there's a reason why they're so cheap.
Oh, here we go. This is a good question from Jim and Val's Travel Channel. They just ordered a new F550 with a 6.7. We will be full-time traveling in places such as the Northwest Territory, far from any dealer. Should I just go ahead and replace the CP4 ahead of traveling? That's an excellent idea. It would be an investment to an investment already that you have. Obviously, you wouldn't want downtime. We already know, and it's been proved from SNS and in that video where they tore down the DCR that had been running on a truck for over a year that had some pretty crappy fuel, and it just ate it. So we still have to worry about injectors, but nonetheless, upgrading from the CP4 to the DCR is definitely a ticket. Or if you don't want to opt for that, you can get the disaster prevention kit, which is I'm sure you know, I've already looked up with that filter that filters the fuel going back to the tank, and so forth. But if you're interested, email us. We can try to facilitate something for you. Wow, a lot of you guys, a lot of interaction tonight. I love it. Raptor 14 says I have a 94,000 miles. I've tried 2 different TCM files and I'm still not happy with the shifting. The first one was super firm hard. Second was soft, but seems never shift where I want it to. Did you reset any of the adaptive learn strategies and stuff before and after you did that? Hello there.
What year truck was it?
It says 15. 15 with 94 kk.
The 11 to 16s had really crappy shifting.
Nobody likes Jeeps.
I only know of one person who actually got that truck to shift right. And he's so far underground right now, you're not going to find him.
Is changing your oil at 5K for the life safer than doing 70, or is the difference too small to matter? I don't know. Between 5 and 7,500, I guess. I mean,
That's actually on my oil report. I'll show it to you.
Yep.
That's
It
the
really
thing about
depends.
oil reports. They always say like you can go longer.
No, it depends on how you drive and where you live.
Is that what the oil report said?
Yeah, look. So right here on the right, where it says 8.3
Uh-huh.
for my viscosity, that was my first oil test. The second one over here, it says 7.9 was my second oil test. But if you look, I did a lot of remote starts and a lot of idling at that time. So it really depends. And I only went 4,879 miles on my second oil change compared to 5,785 on my first oil change.
What
And my
So if you look at what if you look at what he just showed you, yes, if you look at what he just showed you, That's why I always specify when I talk about this stuff, when people want to try to argue with me and stuff on my channel and stuff like that. I get some guys here that try to argue as well, but it is what it is. This is exactly what I'm talking about, is exactly what Anthony just pointed out. The lab tests don't lie. Depending on how you run the truck is exactly how you're going to treat the oil change intervals. Miles alone does not dictate the life of that oil expectancy. And I try to teach people and tell people this all the time, and they still try to argue and they don't get it. If you idle the
So
truck
over
a
here-
lot, if you run the
Yeah.
truck hard, this changes how you change the oil.
Over here on the right, I was driving 26 miles to work one way. So it was a lot of cruise control. Over on the left, it was a lot of remote starts. And because, that was in June. So it's really hot here. A lot of remote starts, getting the AC going. And I'm only like 10 miles from work now. So that, like I said, it depends on where you live, the climate that you live in, how you drive the truck, like Ford Boss said. And if you look down at the very bottom, it says wear metals 1,000 miles. That is the wear rate of the engine per 1,000 miles. And everything's in the green, obviously.
What is that,
But-
parts per million?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my fuel
Oh.
dilution was 0.8 and it was 0.9 the first time.
It was
Kinda
interesting.
weird, huh?
This is very different
Interesting.
from what Blackstone would say.
But
Being
see,
a
it
different-
even says down here, look down here at the bottom, it says viscosity is still slightly below grade. And I did ask him about that. And it is on my last live stream that I have with him. He explained why the viscosity of the oil, it's still doing its job. And it still has plenty of ad pack left if you look at it. But
Mm.
if you
That's
go
very
check out that live stream, he'll explain why. So his report's really good too.
So how many miles did you get on the second one with the longer driving, or the other one? I don't know which one was first.
5,700.
57 or 5,785 on the first one. And then the second one was 4,879.
So
There were
with
shorter
that,
trips and longer remote starts and more idling than the one
so
on
are
the right.
these oil cycles based on the monitor that you change it, or
Nope, just by mileage. I don't go by the monitor.
just 50? So at 5,000 miles, you just went 700 over that and just.
I did it on purpose just to see what it would come out as. And then
Oh,
I did the other one less mileage just to see how it would come out.
So
And
when
so I
you
can get it.
so when you rip the oil out at 5,000 miles roughly, what does the monitor say is left?
Like 50 something percent.
Dang, that's a lot. They're telling you can go to send it again. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No
Which
way.
is why you need to do this. So now I have a trend analysis going. So I'll do another oil sample when I'm due for an oil change again, which is like another 4,000 miles.
This is particularly why I tell people to stop, especially if you're running your truck as a business, to stop going by the oil monitor.
Oh
Yeah,
my
oil
gosh,
monitors
no.
don't know. They're not not gonna know any of this stuff.
I use mine still. I literally just ran an oil life cycle.
Some people have their relationship with their truck pretty in tune with the oil life monitor, and they know how to run that truck to make it actually adhere to what that oil life monitor says. But when you run the truck, it doesn't always take into consideration every single thing that you're doing. Like a lot of people think it's just basic stuff, and it's so much more than that. It's how many load cycle events happen, how many times you've got in that throttle for an extended period of time and backed out of it, how long that truck's been idling, how hot that truck's gotten, how cold it's gotten when you've started it, how many key cycles it's had. All of this factors into how often that truck, or how long that oil can be run in that truck percent wise. And it's not always 100% accurate. Now, there was an engineer that told me, if you go to my video on my channel, I don't know if Aaron's put one up or not, and it might apply to you because most Fords guys have come back to me and said it actually does work. If you put your cluster and engineering mode and you learn how to read the numbers on the cluster, you'll see that your fuel percent and your oil percent a lot of times, and even like trans temp that some vehicles can't get, you can get it in engineering mode, do not coincide with what the generic display says, because now you're actually in the smart type of the system that actually calculates everything much finer. And a lot of people don't know you can do that.
That's a good idea.
All I know is I drive mine so hard that they usually come up, the light comes on at like 5,000 to 5,700 miles anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you're in tune with yours. You know how to get yours to do what you
Well-
need it to do the way you want it to do it.
Well, that being said, I mean, I burned through tires and I burned through. I
Yeah,
really.
You drive it
There's
hard.
there's guys that'll get freaking like 60K out of on a set of tires.
Yeah.
So
But you're
I'm
not.
but
not out-
I'm not sure that a guy that can really, I don't know what they're doing, they're just driving. I'm not sure that guy can't go 7,500. I don't know if he can or can't. I don't see why he couldn't.
Most diesel guys that drive it just as a daily driver and they don't work them very hard. That's just the truck they prefer. Can easily go 7,500 miles and be fine.
Yeah.
But it's
You're
how
not, you're not working it.
Yeah, they're not working the truck like that. I know guys that they just prefer to have a diesel truck. They just prefer to have it. So when they're ready to use it or they're retired, they've earned that right to run it and they don't work it that hard. And they easily get 7,000, 7,500 miles out of it. But then they know that they're topped off at that point. They're changing the oil, or they go, 200 engine hours or something like that, and they change the oil. I mean, it's just a matter of how you look at things. Miles are not an accurate representation of how the service needs to be performed. And most people know that are pretty serious in the industry know it's more hour based and not so much mile based. But a lot of people, they don't like to adapt to that.
I finally have gotten.
I was gonna say I've had the light come up after 3K, just on a monitor, on a diesel, not a gas, but on a diesel when it's just I'm in that truck working it all day and night, and then tons of idling as well.
Yeah.
3K.
Yep.
So I've been using oil analyzers for a while, and I like the format on this speed diagnostics. So I think I'll send for a test kit with them, and then 3,000 miles I need to change the oil again, and I'll send 2 samples out. I want to see what the difference is in the 2 formats in the reports.
That's a good idea.
Between 3,000 and 5,000.
Yeah, I change it at least by 5,000.
Yeah.
He's quick too. It takes about 5 days to get your results back.
Normally, that's the biggest. I'll tell you, as a shop owner, general manager now, and doing what I do every single day, the biggest failure that I see consistently with owners is lack of maintenance. It's people not wanting to justify wanting to change the oil, and they'll try to say, "Oh, this damn Ford, this damn Chevy, this damn this, this damn." And you know what? It's not even that. It's just people don't want to assume the responsibility that they just bought an $80,000 truck, a $90,000 truck, and they need to treat it as so.
It doesn't matter what they buy. If they don't
Yeah.
treat it, well, it's gonna break.
Right.
Look behind me. See that? That's that lifetime fluid in a transmission. That's what that does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people too fall short, not with just the oil, but there could be a guy that really keeps up on his motor oil. But when that 60,000 miles comes or whatever it is for the transmission and the diff and all that, I feel like that is so easy to overlook.
Oh yeah.
Aside, sorry, Aaron. Aside from the guy still work for the manufacturer here, I just left working for Ford, and people used to say, "Well, how do you really feel? How do you really feel?" Well, I don't work for Ford anymore. So how do I really feel? I really feel that manufacturers in general sell you a vehicle, and they put out a great product. Don't get me wrong. Ford has the best truck on the road, in my opinion. Half ton, 3/4 ton, 1 ton wise. It doesn't matter what it is. I've driven everything, and I own every American truck, manufacturer wise, and I enjoy my Ford way better than I enjoy anything else. It's just hands down just a better truck to me. But when you sell a vehicle to a consumer and you're looking for a certain amount of government credit points through the EPA or whatever it is to look better, they tend to lean more on the elongated side of how you have to service this vehicle so it looks better to the consumer. So they think that they don't have to service the vehicle as much.
Right.
Some of you guys have already heard me say this. That's false. Statistically, from the beginning of time, all manufacturers of every make and model have done this, and it's a way for them to help or convince the consumer to buy their vehicle versus somebody else. And none of it is a accurate depiction of actually what needs to go on with your vehicle. The people that get to see the ins and outs of the internals of this vehicles are the Erics, the Aarons, the Codys, the DSs of the world. They get to tear these things apart and see, hey, this guy was changing his oil every 10,000 miles. And then you look at the car carrier now that's telling you, I've been doing this for 25 years, guys. I'm telling you right now that Toyota telling you 10,000 mile oil changes is okay is not a smart thing. I'm replacing an $8,000 long block at 150,000 miles because this person was doing 10,000 mile oil changes. And that is a stupid idea. Now the oil control rings are seized up in this thing, and I'm taking all this lady's money, and she's going to be eating ramen for the next 3 weeks or a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because she can't
They don't
afford.
correlate that though. That's the
Yeah.
problem is they don't understand. They said, well, the manufacturer says this. Why can't I do that?
Yeah, because it could be because they want to sell you the vehicle. They
Yeah,
want to
and-
make it look good. They want to make it look
Well,
good on paper.
on
And
top
then you
of-
come back to mine.
On top of that, they also go, well, they say 10,000, but that really means 12,000. That really means
They're adding to that.
really, they're already on the end of the spectrum. They're already is like at the very end of what you should change, how often you should change your oil or your fluid or whatever maintenance item interval it is. They're already at the end. So
I
people
think the
push it a little
theory-
bit.
I think the theory for the oil life monitor is good, and I think the technology is good and everything. But like Ford Boss is saying, the manufacturer is interested in selling a vehicle that's cheap to maintain,
Yeah.
kind of a selling point.
Well,
And I think that oil life monitor just pushes it a little too far.
Yeah,
It's
well,
something-
I think that there's something else here too. And I think that the EPA has a little bit of a hand in how often fluids are changed and how often like maintenance intervals.
Absolutely.
If you look at the fine print,
ULV.
yeah, read the fine print. It literally says lifetime fluid for the lifetime of the warranty.
Yeah,
in
but
fine print.
yeah, but it would, if they said that in big print, it would.
Yeah.
Hey,
Because nobody
they
reads the
wouldn't-
fine print.
They wouldn't buy the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I've got 255,000 miles on a Lincoln Town Car out there with a 4R70W in it. They're not strong transmissions at all. Eric will tell you they're pretty weak transmissions, but if
Yeah.
you take care of them, they'll last forever.
All you
The
gotta do
man
is
that-
change the fluid. That's it.
The man that bought that car from the dealership that I bought it from eventually when he retired it at 190,000 miles, every 30,000 to 40,000 miles was coming in to get fluid done. And then the next time, 30,000 miles later, fluid and filter, and then fluid, and then fluid and filter, and then fluid and fluid and filter. You look at the inside of that transmission right now, it shifts brand new, just like the day, 255,000 miles on it, because every 30 to 40,000 miles, that service was done on the fluid. And every 30 to 40,000 miles later, that service was done on the trans fluid. Ford would have never said that you would have had to have done that on that car. If you look at a new
Mhm.
vehicle, a quart of rear diff fluid on an RDU for a brand new Escape or something is anywhere between $90 to $130 a quart.
Yeah.
And there's already TSBs out on shuttering coming from the rear end at low parking lot maneuvers from this fluid being contaminated from the factory. What happens when that vehicle that holds less than 1 quart, that's like a half of a pint or something like that, or whatever it is, something ridiculous that you're paying $100 a quart for, you have to change every 20,000 miles. What do you do then? The PTU that's supposed to be lifetime fluid that you're spending $40 a quart for that only holds 0.7 quarts. What do you do then? These are the things that they don't tell you when you buy a car, and that's across the board. Fluid maintenance is key. And when we promote that here on this channel, on my channel, on anybody's channel, it's not because we're BSing you or we're trying to take your money, because we
Yeah.
want you to stay in your vehicle and
That's
not
right.
be broke down.
We don't. The last thing that I think any of us want is for cars to get harder for people to own. That's like the goal. I think here uniformly is to make it easier to own cars, to make it easier, to make cars less of a burden for people, so that it's not as ominous to take care of or repair, or as it doesn't need as repair as often. I mean, that's the whole goal. This-
Yep.
that's fine.
Yep.
Well, we always talk about oil. We know we got to change our oil, but what else is it and when? You know,
Brake
there's a-
fluid. Oh my God, nobody does brake fluid.
That's
And
a
it-
huge one that no one
Coolant,
does.
coolant, brake
for our-
fluid, differential
For our
fluid. I mean,
Super Duty guys, I do cars. How often should we be doing our brake fluid?
So every other oil, well, I shouldn't say that. I'd say every
K.
year on every car, I suck the reservoir dry and replace the brake fluid in the reservoir. And about once every, I'd say probably 3 years, I will open the bleeders and I will use my power bleeder and force new fluid through it.
That's a good idea that a lot of people can do, is just once a year flush, or I mean, suck out the reservoir. But
It's, the tool to do it is $40. I mean, it's nothing. Or you can even do it with paper towels. I mean, it doesn't matter.
There
But
was
you
a-
gotta know- but you got to know what you're doing.
There
Well,
was a
yeah.
guy on YouTube or like TikTok or something like that, and he said, "Look, I understand a lot of you don't know how to do your brakes and stuff like that, but I want to show you just with a 20-ounce water bottle, how easy this is. And he grabbed a water bottle and went to Hobby Lobby and got like a clear piece of hose, and he drilled a hole in the cap of the water bottle, and then he put the clear piece of hose down inside it, and then had enough fluid in it to where it was coming up above it. And he was like, now watch this. Every time I push something out, it's going to, as I'm topping off the reservoir, I can push the brake down and have somebody fill up the reservoir. When I go to pull back in or something like that, it's an exchange of fluid in this bottle with this water bottle. And he literally had like less than $1.
It goes under the water because it goes under the fluid.
Yeah.
Well, it's because of how he was bleeding it, and he was like, "There's no way for air to get back in the system this way, so there's no reason why you can't learn
like
how to
that.
do this."
You have to fill the threads on the bleeder.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's the principle behind the message is what I'm saying. There's no reason why, even if you didn't have money to go get the service done, that you couldn't learn, because you have to. If you have a vehicle, there's no way around it. There has to be a will, because there is a way. And if you have a vehicle that you want to maintain and keep driving, you have to have the will to make the way to do it. And there's information out there for anybody to do it. It's not an option.
I wouldn't say anybody bleed the brakes.
No, I mean,
Get out of the safety precaution stuff of it. Get out of all that crap. Throw that out of the stream completely. If you have to service your vehicle and you got to get something done and you're willing to learn how to do it in a safe, proper way, there are plenty of videos out there, content creators like yourself, DS, or Aaron, or I Do Cars, that actually specify in their video, look, this is not for everybody, but I'm going to teach you the safe way to do it. And this may not be the best way to do it, but this is the way I know how to do it. And here's how to do it. And they lay the content.
You say
out.
once a year. You say once a year, but like my wife has she's had her car for 2 years and has 8,600 miles on it. So
yeah,
miles are irrelevant though. For brakes, miles are absolutely irrelevant.
Yeah.
it
Because
comes
it's
down to
time.
the amount of time that fluid's been in that reservoir exposed to moisture. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Being in Florida,
Yeah.
being in Florida, that's
The humidity.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, here's something that's going to break every freaking person's theory here on oil and how often it should be changed. And this is, I'm going to be devil's advocate here, but I'm still going to stick to the very principle that I teach on this channel. When I bought my Mercury Grand Marquis with 26,444 miles on it, it was a garage find. That vehicle had been sitting for 6 years with a quick lube oil change in it. I have the results from Blackstone Labs. 6 years later, with the same oil in it, 2,000 miles on it, came back with like 150 parts per million moly, unbelievable calcium and magnesium and everything else. And I'm looking at this oil and I'm like, wait a second, this came from a quick lube place? We don't even get this type of ad pack at the freaking dealer. And this came from a quick lube place. 6 years later, by the numbers, this looked good. But the logic behind how much I actually cared for that car was telling me you'd be stupid to leave this in that car.
yeah, right.
Take it out and change it. You're not that dumb. Just do it, because you know that there has to come to a point in somebody's life where they're looking at something and they're like, look, I know that looks good, but everything inside me, everything built up inside me is telling me this don't feel right. Just change the freaking oil and put a filter on it.
Yeah, you can't
That's
go by color. You know that. You cannot go by color. Just
No way.
because
I
it's
hate
dark.
that. People are like, oh, I changed the oil and in 1,000 miles it's jet, or in 100 miles it's jet black. Okay.
Hey, it's doing its job.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
So
awesome.
guys can change their own brake fluid. What happens? So some guys out in this garage is doing his brake fluid. What do you do if the master cylinder freaking by accident runs dry?
You gotta bleed it again.
Yeah, you bleed it.
You
There's,
just got-
there's probably more videos on how to bleed brakes than how to change oil on YouTube.
I
True
gotta
that.
agree with that. Yeah.
True that. At least
I
when you
mean-
come here, we're gonna have a variety of a plethora of information that you'll get to indulge in, whether it's, you know, this stuff, trans, or taking care of the diesel engine.
People ask me all the time, well, what happens if you're telling somebody how to do something and they drop the car on their neck or whatever?
Oh, I
That's
hear
something-
that all the time. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, dude? I am a dude on a freaking computer screen that you're following, right? If you followed it like I did it, you're not dropping the car on your neck. If you
Right.
don't follow it, if you don't follow it like I did it and you drop the car on your neck, sorry, buddy. It was nice knowing you. There's nothing I can really do about it. I feel bad
It's
for
tough
you, but you
because
didn't.
like it's tough because the real world of how you do stuff is different from like the perfectly approved safe way.
Of course it is. I mean, you
When I
guys
do
know
it-
the way the manual reads on how to repair some of these trucks that you guys do every single day. You guys know better ways to do it.
It's like lifting a vehicle. You can sit there and research the right way to do it, the safest right way to do it, and still kind of miss something.
Right.
And somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't do whatever safely."
Mhm.
I just tell people like this. I'd be like, "By the way, when you tune into this video, follow your owner's manual, and this is just how I'm doing it. I'm not recommending anything to anybody. Don't do don't do anything without consulting professional." Just
I
one
always
guy's like, "I'm not doing anything. You tell me not to do nothing." Yeah, I don't know.
I always tell people I'm taking apart a bad engine that's not going to run again. So if you take it apart like I do, it may not run again.
That's freaking awesome.
Wait, yeah, I have a video that's pretty popular. Somebody actually stole my video and posted it on TikTok, and I called the dude out, and I think the guy's name is like Jeffrey or something like that. It's where the water comes gushing out of my F-150 door. My daughter's like, "Dad, why do I hear water in the door back here?" And like, we're at Krauser knows, we're at Mariano's. We pull up at the grocery store, and she says, "Why do I hear water back here in the door?" And I'm like, "I know exactly why, because we've had 3 days of almost all Krauser, you remember like, well, it was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where we had like 2 days of constant rain, and then there was like a break, and then it rained again.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. So those doors are constantly pounded by rain, and people are like, "Ah, it's a damn Ford for you, man. You got the damn doors, the fish is swimming in your damn doors."
Kind of
And
rust
I'm
the
like,
doors out.
Hey,
And I'm
you
like,
guys,
"It's
if you get bored, you should Google BMW rocker water.
"Oh." I see all the BMW guys in the dealership where they got them up on the rack or whatever it is, and the dude goes up to the damn like underneath the car and pulls the plug, and it just starts freaking gushing out of this
I
car.
mean,
And
if
it's
you
like,
want to see a
Wow.
really good one, Google
Must-
Ford Edge soakers.
Mustangs had that problem too.
The
So-
Ford
Fender wheel.
Edge soakers were horrible. You
got-
get
I
8 to
explained to
20,
people.
10 inches of water in them.
Let's
You
let
gotta
Ford Boss
you gotta
finish
change
the
that
story.
water
I
out on a
wanna hear
regular
what he's
basis.
gotta-
So the whole premise here is that all these different vehicles have different issues with them, right? But they all have this technology built in. So this super advanced technology where there's freaking drain holes on the bottom of the door. Imagine that. A Toyota with drain holes on the bottom of the door. Why would they have drain holes on the bottom of the door, people?
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Because water gets in the freaking doors and it needs to drain out. But every mother in the comment section were like, "Man, you should have bought a Toyota. You should have bought a Chevy." And I'm like, "Really? I've got
holes
a
too,
Chevy
though,
out
yeah.
here on the damn driveway right now. I can open the door and show you it's got drain holes after a rain. It's water dripping out of the damn drains or whatever.
You know-
Man, blow shop air in the damn drain holes and you'll unplug
Ford
it. Why?
boss,
So
hey,
the water
Ford-
can wash it right back in the drains again. Like
Yeah,
that's gonna
Ford dropped
really
the ball a
solve the
little
freaking
though
problem,
on these drain holes.
huh?"
They dropped the ball a little bit with the drain holes.
Yeah,
they
they
had the
did.
rubber, they
So
removed the rubber.
here's why Ford, and I'm going to specifically call out Ford on this, shit the bed on this. From 2011 up, the doors weren't so much up and down anymore, where the drain holes were kind of at the bottom where they had as much of a gap. They kind of started canting them in a little bit more. So whenever they wrapped the door skin around them and sucked the edge over, guess what they did? They collapsed a lot of the space that the drain holes used to have. Well, people didn't know that you pull the rubber plugs when you do the freaking door latch freezing recall campaign on the Super Duties and on the F-150s. If you remember, some of them said pull the plugs out and leave them out because it will actually help get the water out of the doors, right? So what ended up happening? A lot of technicians were getting lazy and just not doing the whole damn recall, and they were leaving the plugs in, and they were doing a half-ass job, and then people were coming back and like, "Man, my doors are still freezing up. This damn Ford, this Chevy guy said go buy a Chevy." Well, now I got a Chevy. My Chevy doors are freezing up. You know why? Because they all freaking do it, bro. That's
Man, Ford boss Ford is so much better than Chevy and
Oh, I
pickups.
know.
Dude,
I
look,
get
I'm
that.
looking. My one buddy's got a bunch of Chevy. I'm looking at his Chevy, and the doors are so different. Like when you shut the door on the Ford, the door wraps around underneath the truck, covers the whole.
Yeah, that way when the rocker panel rusts out, you can't tell from the outside.
It won't. It's all aluminum. But on the
Hey.
on the Chevy,
Hey,
the door
aluminum
shuts and
corrodes
the rocker-
too.
When the door shuts
Hey,
on the
think
Chevy,
about-
you
think-
can see the rocker panel. The
Yes,
rocker
think
panel
about what
just
you
sitting
just said,
out
though.
there.
Think about what you just said, though, DS. That's my prime point as the problem with Ford, because the doors wrap under now, and they don't have that space that they used to have at the bottom of the door for the doors to drain properly. So now you've taken a relief hole that used to be pretty open. It used to be open pretty good. They would still plug up. Part of the reason why some of the doors would rot out. But now, but now they really wrap under. So those reliefs that used to be there are like a quarter of the size that they used to
Yeah.
be. There's nowhere near the room.
Let's say the Ford rust, which I haven't seen any rust after all these years of plowing and salting. You got to
because
rust
they're
through
all
that
freaking
door.
aluminum now.
You got to get through that door to even get to the rocker. And what's happening is guys will sit down in the truck and they'll sit there, they'll get in and they'll kick that rocker. They
Yeah.
kick that rocker panel and dent it out. So on the Ford, you shut the door, you can't even see it no more. You got to open the door to see where they've been kicking. On the Chevy, it looks like they've been kicking the side of the truck because it's all exposed. I'm like, man. Oh,
I mean,
man, that's
You know,
terrible.
My Ranger doesn't have the little rubber plugs. It's just got the square holes. I was looking at it today. It's got really big square holes for the drain though.
But you know what I'm getting at here is
Oh yeah.
they all have the
Yeah,
damn
there's
problem.
There's no perfect manufacturer. Not even Toyota. We can talk about their biodegradable dashboards and oil consumption problems. All the cat PO 420 cat inefficiency problems, leaking water pumps on 2GRs.
The freaking leaking torque converters coming from the factory with the damn Highlanders, the front differentials locking up on the brand new ones.
Yeah.
I mean,
All the ABS problems with their crazy ABS systems, all that junk. Every manufacturer has problems. Every manufacturer makes great cars too. I mean, every manufacturer is capable of making the best and the worst car. Sometimes they do both.
But here's a video that I put out that a lot of people were like, dude, I just learned about these doors. I'm 50 years old. I'm 60 years old. I'm 70 years old. And I never knew about the damn drains on the bottom of the door. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, some of y'all been living under rocks, because I've known this shit since I've been little. When I opened the door and I'm looking at the water dripping out, I said, Dad, why does it, because the drains on the bottom of the door are plugged up. And I'd see him go grab the shop air and he'd blow the shop air in the bottom of the door, right? And then
You weren't especially short when you were younger, were you?
and he blow air in the drains, right? And clear out the drains for a little bit. But guess what that water would do when it get back in there the next time? It'd wash the shit that he blew back in the door right back in the damn drain again. So everybody's like, oh, why didn't you blow some shop air into the bottom of the door? It would have cleared it out. Where the hell does it go? Back into the door, right back into the drain again, you genius.
Revolving process.
I would have put a zip tie in there and cleaned it out. Yeah, for right now, you would have pushed it back into the door. And the next time it rained, it would have washed right back into the hole again.
What is it that you did in this video that made everyone upset? What'd you do?
I just pulled the plug out of the door and I told them, hey man, y'all got to watch this stuff, because Ford they didn't really design these drains so well on these 11 and up F-150s so good, because they started to wrap the bottom of the door a little bit more. And I just want y'all to be aware that if you pull these plugs out that they tell you to take out anyway, they really don't need to be there. It will actually help get that water out, and then any of the little residual stuff left will continue to drain out of the drains. Oh my God, they come unfucking glued, man. They can.
Well, why didn't you use your safety glasses? You can take the little arm of your safety glasses and stick it up in that hole.
You ain't fitting it in these holes.
Small. It's
You are,
much
I've
smaller
done
than that.
DS, you're getting slap happy. Who asked
But anyway,
that? Come
You're
on.
just pushing dirt back in the door when you
that
do that.
video fired people up, man, to the point where they were like, oh, that's why you should buy Chevy. That's why you should buy Toyota. And I said, really? Have you guys ever went out to your door in any of them other vehicles and actually looked at the bottom of it and seen that every damn manufacturer has relief holes in the bottom of the door for a reason? Because they're not total sealed doors. Water does get in there. It's normal for them to drain out. Did you all not know that? No, I didn't. I'm 70 years old and I did not know that. Well, thank you for watching my video and being respectful. And
How a
letting me
lot of
teach
people
you something.
would have known
Thank you for
that.
keeping it real.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
the guy,
your motor for your door for your window is in there, and you would think that that area is weather tight, but it's
Yeah, but
not.
water doesn't fill the whole door up to that point.
It does. If those drains clog,
It'll get
then
that high.
you would be surprised how much water. Your door is like a gutter.
No, I know how much water, but like I've never had a door that
If
the motor sat low enough to where the water wouldn't like BMWs have something come.
No, it's not gonna get on the motor. No.
Yeah.
no,
BMWs
it'll
have
get
a
so high. It'll get
So
so
you can
high
hear it.
that it creases. It'll crest the bottom of the dust shield that's inside there,
Mhm.
and it'll start to spill over the edge, and it will get on your kick seal because you won't be able to see it at first, and it'll be all wet along the kick plate, and it'll get on the carpet, and it'll fall down in the channel that Aaron's already showed us where the wires break and all corrode and shit and everything else, and it'll ruin the wires and stuff in there. The last 2 weeks have been horrible with these jobs, these water jobs. Sunroof drains, nobody cleans them out. That is a maintenance item that nobody talks about. Those should be
Yep.
cleaned periodically. HVAC box drains, nobody cleans those out. Those should be checked periodically. Hey, when you're every dealer or shop should offer a service that says for an extra 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it may be, I can throw like a $50 spiff or something, or, on a ticket. While you're under there changing the oil, can I have that $50 job up there where you go around real quick and check all my drains and stuff real quick, blow some
there's
real light
so
air
many
in my.
things. The cowl. I mean, you just went through that with the cowl. Cowl drains clog up, flood
yeah.
all kinds of electronics all the time, wiper motors, everything.
Yeah,
I think that's a real good idea for a boss.
Eric was telling me about the cowls where they plug up in those BMWs and stuff like that, where the water comes off the windshield. And then it got me thinking about it. Wait a second. I've dealt with that before. On the Lincoln Town cars, there's a center drain hole right underneath the windshield wiper motor. And I bought the car and I put a bunch of miles on it. And all of a sudden the wipers would work in the afternoon. But at night when it would get cold or first thing in the morning, it wouldn't work until it got warm in the afternoon again. And I started thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? Pulled all the plastic and stuff out of there because I was going to replace the motor. Look down in the center of the cowl. And it's because during the day, it's hot or it's a little warmer than freezing out. So that top layer of ice that was freezing up in my wiper cowl area was liquid, and the wiper motor could turn and wipe the windows. But overnight and in the evening time when it started to get cold and freeze back up again, it would turn to ice. And if I'd go run down to the store or something like that, try to clear my window, it would be frozen, wouldn't let the wiper turn. And I was like, wait a second. Eric was just talking about that with that BMW. That's the same thing I dealt with that Lincoln Town car. That center drain was plugged up with leaves and debris and stuff all the time. And I never knew there was a drain there. Why? Because nobody ever taught me there was a drain there. Now I teach everybody to make sure those drains are cleared.
Check your drain.
The fresh air inlet coming into the cab is sealed up right. And the HVAC box is clear. And your sunroofs are clear. And the bottom of your doors are clear. And then your trunk, your gasket around your trunk. Keep that clean. That also starts issues with water spilling over the seal and getting in your trunk area as well. So
Ain't nobody want water in the cars.
The cow will actually make it smell funny in the car too.
yeah, it'll smell like mildew. I've got 2 Audis right now where the floor's filled up with water and destroyed the automatic. I was going to call Cody on this because I know Cody he knows some about Volkswagens and shit like that because I think he's got one. But automatic trans control module ended up going on it. And I had to call up Cody from Cody's Auto Diagnostics. He's actually going to fix the original computer that's in it. I bought a used one to go in it because if the part number is the same, it's plug and play. The guy was going to junk the car. I bought the module for like $120. And obviously I have a shop and there's going to be some markup there. I turned around, sold it to the guy for $200. I could have sold it for well over $500 because other ones, and I put it in there, fired this thing up. And now the vehicle's shifting again, all from water ingestion. The water getting in the floor and just filling up and destroying the modules.
Yeah,
The connectors never.
You always got to park those up facing uphill. If you force it facing downhill, it's problems.
Yeah.
Son of a bean. Well, fellas, this is where we're gonna cut it off. It's been a hell of a chat. Bruce DS, finally a night he hasn't fell asleep on us. Amen. God bless. This guy says, night fella's gonna go check my door drains now. Everybody, before you go sleep, go check your door drains and give the doors a little shaky shake and make sure there's nothing liquid in your doors.
Oh, and them doors, take those little square, the rectangle ones, the rectangle rubber elements out of there.
Yeah, at the very bottom. Well, till next time, Friday video, big one, 22 EO4. You guys have a lot of questions. Come by the channel and find out exactly what we have to do. I appreciate you all, everybody on the panel tonight, even non-sleepy DS.